The moment you realize someone is ignoring you, something ancient and desperate wakes up inside you. And it almost always reaches for the exact thing that will lower you. You feel it, the pull to send the second message, the urge to explain what you meant, to ask what went wrong, to prove you are worth responding to. The quiet panic that says, do something, fix this, make them see you. And so you chase, you double the effort, you reach harder into the silence, and with every reach, you sink. Because here is the truth almost no one is willing to sit with. When you chase someone who is ignoring you, you are not winning him back. You are teaching him exactly how much power they hold over you. And people rarely return that power. They spend it. Tonight, you learn what to do instead. Not to punish anyone, not to play a game, but to recover the one thing being ignored quietly steals from you, your own composure. Stay until the end, because the last few minutes will change how you respond to silence for the rest of your life. Let us begin with an uncomfortable law of human nature. Attention is currency, and how you spend yours reveals your worth to everyone watching, including yourself. When someone withdraws their attention and you respond by pouring more of yours toward them, you have just set an exchange rate. You have declared, without a single explicit word, that their attention is precious and yours is cheap. That you will pay more to receive less. And the mind of the other person adjusts instantly to this rate. They do not consciously decide to devalue you. They simply feel the shift, that you need them more than they need you, and need, in any relationship, is the thing that quietly lowers status. The one who needs less holds more. Always. This is the trap hidden inside chasing. The chase feels like effort, like devotion, like fighting for something that matters. But from the outside, it reads as something else entirely. It reads as scarcity of self-respect and abundance of availability, and abundance, in the strange economy of human attention, is worth little. What is always available is quietly assumed to be worth having whenever, which means never urgently. You cannot make someone value you by proving how much you value them. Often, you achieve the opposite. The proving itself is what convinces them they can have you without effort. And there is a deeper cost, one that happens inside you before anyone else even sees it. Every time you chase attention that is being withheld, you cast a private vote on who controls your emotional state. You teach your own nervous system that another person's response is an emergency. That your peace depends on their reply. That your worth is a verdict they deliver or withhold. Do this enough times, with enough people, and you will have built a self that cannot rest, a self permanently waiting for a notification that decides whether today was good or bad. That is not connection, that is captivity, and you built the cell yourself, one anxious message at a time. Machiavelli would understand this mechanism completely because he studied power in a world where a man's bearing decided how he was treated. Woven through his work is a hard understanding of human beings, that they are moved by perception far more than by truth, and that the one who appears to need nothing is treated very differently from the one who visibly needs something. He watched men lose their standing not because they lacked worth, but because they revealed their hunger too openly, chased too obviously, and taught the powerful exactly which strings to pull. The lesson is simple, and it is old. Visible need lowers you. Composed self-possession raises you. In the spirit of Machiavelli, power belongs to whoever governs 4 territories. Emotion, the composure that lets you meet silence without panic. Access, who is allowed close to you, and on what terms, which is yours to grant and yours to withdraw. Timing, the refusal to respond on the schedule of someone who is testing your patience. And perception, what your response communicates about your worth, which should never be desperation. Here is the crucial point that separates strategy from wound. Withdrawal is not weakness when it is chosen. When you pull your energy back not to punish them, not to manipulate them into returning, but simply to recover your own center, that is not retreat. That is the reclaiming of control. The one who withdraws from a place of panic has lost. The one who withdraws from a place of self-respect has won something quieter and far more lasting. Watch how this law governs the rooms of your real life. In dating, nothing dissolves attraction faster than the visible pursuit of someone pulling away. The double text, the triple text, the anxious asking of what did I do, the availability that only increases as theirs decreases, each one signals a need for reassurance that quietly ends the very thing you were trying to save. The person who can notice the withdrawal, feel it fully, and still not chase, who pulls their own energy back calmly and returns to their life, communicates a self-worth that no amount of pursuit could manufacture. This is not a manipulation tactic. It is the simple truth that a person who does not need this particular outcome to be whole is magnetic, and a person who does is not. In friendships, watch what happens when you are always the one reaching out. The one initiating, planning, following up, carrying the entire weight of the connection while the other person offers only the minimum. The instinct is to try harder, to be more available, to earn the friendship back through effort. But a friendship that requires you to chase is not a friendship, it is a performance you are giving to an audience of one who is barely watching. When you stop reaching and simply leave space, one of two things happens. They step forward, and the friendship rebalances. Or they do not, and the silence tells you the truth you needed to know. Both outcomes are gifts. Only the chasing keeps you from receiving either. At work and in business, the person who over-follows up, who chases the unanswered email with increasingly anxious ones, who visibly needs the deal or the approval or the recognition, hands the other side a lever. And levers get pulled. The professional who states his position once, clearly, and then returns to his work, who does not perform his eagerness, who lets his silence carry the same weight as his words, is treated with a care the chaser never receives. Composure reads as options, and a person with options is a person who cannot be cheaply used. On social media and in the group chat, the dynamic becomes almost visible to the naked eye. The message left unanswered, the joke that landed on silence, the post that got no response, and the anxious pull to send another, to explain, to reclaim the attention that slipped away. Resist it. The one who fills every silence with more of himself teaches the group that his presence is unlimited and therefore unremarkable. The one who can let a message sit unanswered, who does not chase the room's attention, keeps a scarcity that makes his eventual words land. And in arguments, the person who desperately needs the last word, who cannot tolerate being left unread mid-conflict, reveals that his composure is hostage to the other person's response. The one who can state his truth once and then fall silent, truly silent, unbothered, holds the stronger frame entirely. Across all of these, notice the pattern underneath. People test your value by watching how much disrespect you will tolerate. Often they are not even doing it consciously, it is simply what human beings do, probing to learn where your limits are, how much they can take before you withdraw. Your reaction is the answer. Every time you meet withdrawn attention with doubled effort, you teach them that ignoring you costs nothing, that in fact it earns them more of you. And so the ignoring continues, because you have quietly rewarded it. You are always teaching people how to treat you. The only question is what lesson your reactions are giving. So why does pulling back actually work, not as a trick, but as a truth? Because of a law older than any of us, people value what becomes less available. Not because scarcity is magic, but because unlimited access removes the need to appreciate anything. When your attention is infinite, it costs nothing to lose, so it is never truly valued. When your attention becomes something that must be met with reciprocity to be kept, it acquires weight. This is not about playing hard to get. It is about being genuinely difficult to keep on unequal terms, which is a different thing entirely, and a real thing, not a performance. There is a deeper psychology here, and it is the part that matters most for your own soul. The person who does not need immediate validation has a center that holds regardless of what other people do. When the message goes unanswered, his day is not ruined, because his sense of himself was never stored in another person's hands. This self-possession is not something you fake by waiting a strategic number of hours before replying. It is something you build by slowly relocating your worth from the outside back to the inside, until other people's attention becomes something you enjoy rather than something you need. And here is the paradox: the moment you no longer need their attention, you often receive it. Not because you tricked them, but because self-possession is magnetic, and neediness is not. People move toward the calm center and away from the anxious reach. This is not fair, and it is not cruel. It is simply how the human mind is built. So here is the discipline, woven into the way you carry yourself. Do not chase attention. When you feel the pull to reach into someone's silence, recognize it for what it is, the ancient panic of a mind that believes it must fix this to be safe. You do not. The chase has never once, in the history of human beings, restored respect that was slipping. Let the reach die in your hand. Do not double your effort when someone halves theirs. This is the clearest rule of all. Effort in any healthy connection tends toward balance. The moment you find yourself giving more as they give less, you have entered an exchange that will only teach them to give even less. Match the effort offered to you. Meet warmth with warmth, and meet withdrawal with your own quiet withdrawal, not as punishment, but as accuracy. Do not explain your value to someone actively ignoring it. Your worth is not a case to be argued before a reluctant jury. The very act of explaining it makes it look disputable, and a person ignoring you is not confused about your value. They are choosing, in this moment, not to honor it. No paragraph will change that. Only your composure will. Pull your energy back. This is the core move, and it is entirely yours to make. Take the attention, the mental space, the emotional investment you were pouring towards someone who is not receiving it, and bring it home. Redirect it into your own life, your own work, your own people who do show up. This is not a message you send. It is a quiet act you perform inside yourself, and its effects are felt long before they are seen. Let silence reveal the truth. When you stop filling every gap, the space that opens will show you who someone really is. If they step forward to meet you, you have learned something. If they let the silence stretch into permanence, you have learned something more important. Silence is not empty. It is one of the most honest instruments you possess, if you can bear to let it speak. Match effort, but never mirror disrespect. There is a line here worth holding carefully. Matching someone's investment is wisdom, it keeps you from overgiving. But mirroring the disrespect, answering coldness with cruelty, is beneath you, and it drags you into their frame. Do not become smaller to punish someone for making you feel small. Withdraw with dignity, not with venom. Leave space for people to show you who they are. Most people will tell you the truth about themselves if you stop performing hard enough to drown it out. When you stop chasing, filling, and fixing, you create the room in which a person's real character can appear. Let it appear. Believe it when it does. Build a life they cannot interrupt. This is the foundation beneath every other rule, and the one that makes them all effortless. When your life is full of work that means something, of discipline, of people who reciprocate, of a self you are proud of, a single person's silence cannot devastate you, because it is one quiet note in a life full of sound. The best defense against being ignored is a life so engaging that you barely notice the absence of someone who chose to leave it. And never punish them, simply remove access to you. This is the ethical heart of the entire lesson, and it must be held cleanly. Detachment is not a weapon you use to hurt someone, to make them jealous, to force them back through manufactured coldness. That is just chasing wearing a colder mask. You are still centered on them, still trying to control their response. True detachment is quieter and more final. You do not lash out. You do not announce your departure. You do not orchestrate their suffering. You simply, calmly, stop making yourself available to be undervalued, and you turn, without drama, back toward your own life. Now understand what stands at the end of this discipline, because the world will misread it, and you must not. Detachment is not coldness. It is not the shutting down of a heart, not the performance of not caring, not a wall built out of fear. The cold person has closed himself off because he is afraid of being hurt. The detached person remains fully open, fully capable of warmth and connection, but he has moved the seat of his worth back inside himself, where no one else's silence can reach it. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is feeling everything, and refusing to let it govern you. It is, in the end, simply self-respect made into a practice. And this is what makes such a person nearly impossible to control. He cannot be kept as an option, held in reserve, given the minimum and expected to wait, because the moment he is undervalued, he quietly withdraws his energy, and the arrangement collapses. He cannot be reduced, because he has given no desperate chase to shrink him with. He cannot be easily manipulated through his need for attention, because that need no longer runs his life. When he is ignored, he does not chase, he simply notices, adjusts, and turns back toward everything that is real. And people feel this. They feel that his presence is a gift, not a guarantee, that his attention must be meant to be kept, and they treat it accordingly, or they lose it. Not as a threat, as a fact. This was always the secret hidden inside being ignored. The silence you feared was never the problem. The problem was what you did in response to it, the chasing, the proving, the pouring of yourself into a space that had asked for nothing. Change the response, and the entire meaning of the silence changes. It stops being a wound. It becomes information, and the person who can receive that information calmly, pull his energy home, and keep walking toward his own life has discovered a power that no one can take from him, because it was never dependent on anyone else in the first place. So the next time someone withdraws, and the old panic wakes up and reaches for your hands, do not chase. Feel the pull, and let it pass. Pull your energy back, return to your life, leave the space open, and let it tell you the truth. And carry yourself with the quiet certainty of a person who knows that his worth was never up for a vote, least of all from someone who chose silence over him. If this lesson spoke to you, stay with the Machiavellian mind. Because power does not always begin when you speak. Sometimes, it begins when you stop chasing.